All right, everybody, it's Cass. I'm looking at Avery Stevens. He is a redshirt freshman at St. Cloud State University, which is a D2 in St. Cloud, Minnesota. So, without any further explanation, I'm just going to walk through the things that jump out to me. So, I'm going to send Avery a clip of this just in more detail, but his hands are crossing right there. Okay, so just a little bit better follow-through pattern. Essentially, like, can we get the catcher to see your numbers, not by like bending your back, but by continuing to rotate. So you do finish, but you don't. And it's kind of weird. It's just like letting the left side release. I'm not going to talk much more on that. I'm going to go into what really my eyes are drawn to. So I really like the positions. So let's just like look at the overall positions, and then we'll critique the timing of the positions. So I look at the glove side action. I'm just looking at this move. Okay, so that right there, typically that point where the elbow goes into extension, that's a timing mechanism. Oh, and then it also happens when the ball is at the bottom. Okay, so John Sintes calls this the gun. This is pretty common. So I've seen many players right here, elbow extends, that's a timing mechanism. Hands down, glove side goes up. Okay, so that's good. Hand position is a little interesting here. I don't think it affects anything. Typically, we just see the hand a little bit more pronated at that standpoint. But yeah, upper half up to this point, nothing is really crazy. I look at this, a lot of horizontal adduction, so that right elbow coming to the spine right now. I like that that's happening. I do see some level of positive disconnect here, right? So that glove side appearing. Like, I like a lot of what's going on. Okay, that's maximum external rotation. Like, clean upper half patterns, clearly in front of his body. A lot of good things to like here. A fantastic front leg. Yeah, so the positions that jump out to me are that hand position right there into this. So like this right here, this is interesting, okay, with the right arm. Outside of that, I really don't, nothing else really is drawn, like nothing, I don't see anything else that intrigues me with the upper half as far as like positions that it puts itself in. I shouldn't say that. This external rotation stuff we'll have to come back to later because I do think we're a little bit early, but we'll talk more about this when we talk about the timing of the upper half. So I'm just seeing a little bit of a lack of external rotation for relative to how I believe you're a pretty good athlete. So I think you could be getting more out of that. So anyway, let's focus on this position right here, the back leg position. Okay, so if we look at it from behind, it's not as distracting. We're like, okay, the knee isn't that far past the toe, but it is. Okay, so that's why we're seeing a lot of what we're seeing right here. Okay, is because of what's happening here. So typically, if I draw a line straight down the side, okay, and I even take him out here, we should just see more of a glute load. When I say that, literally, this knee should be farther back, that hip should be farther back, and we should see a little bit more of a counter-rotated position so we don't see that back knee starting to internally rotate soon. So I say that, and I know that there are places called like torsion throwing, or that this back leg should be externally rotated and vertical. So that essentially like the kneecap, this kneecap should be facing back towards the shortstop, or the hip should be facing more here. Okay, and I know that Driveline has posted stuff that says that roll-ins, that like Casey Weathers threw a ball off the mound harder in a roll-in than he did in his actual pitching motion. So how much this actually matters from a force production standpoint and like, yeah, from a power standpoint, I don't really know that that's the argument. So a lot of people will say, oh, you need to hold your back leg into a stronger position. You need, you don't want this to be here because you should be activating your glutes, and that gives you more power. I don't think that's the argument, but I do still think that's a thing. So typically right here, let's go like this position. I should definitely see the belt buckle facing backwards. So like the back hip should be more externally rotated. We should be seeing things turning this way right now. like the hip, okay, even the shoulders and the chest position. Okay, so you're just not going to see this happen with a lot of people. Okay, so those are the positioning things. Okay, I know I'm getting a little long-winded, but I'm just going to keep rolling. It's a YouTube video, so bear with me. Okay, all right, so that's going to be a thing. Okay, I have an issue with the knee creeping past that. Okay, the foot, that should stay well within the toe. That shouldn't be much of an issue if we can get the hips to sit back behind the heel and just counter rotate, so we're not seeing this back knee internally rotated too soon. If we just focus on the back leg position and the direction of that, I would really have no issue with anything else that you're doing. So my big focus would be just repositioning that back leg and seeing what you're like there. So that's my priority. My priority is repositioning the back leg, repositioning the back hip, learning how to just like be in a better position with that. And the only thing I'll say is this, Avery, I don't see guys doing this. So what you're doing right here, show me somebody that does it. Trevor Bauer at UCLA is the closest thing, and it's not the same. So show me, find somebody that's doing this. I can find 1,000 players that are not doing this. Find me somebody who does this. Find me a professional ball player who internally rotates the back leg or just shows that direction or that angle of the back leg. Moving on. Okay, then the last thing becomes the timing. Okay, so I take you into front foot strike. So I'm just going to zoom in, okay, just so you guys understand. This isn't going to be perfect, but typically what I try to do is show you how, like, this isn't my opinion. I'm just trying to show where that's coming in contact with the ground. So in contact, heels down, we see that move happen. So I go all the way through and I see this shifting of the weight, but I'd say we're pretty much down, stabilized pretty quickly. Okay, so in the ground, foot planted, I'll give you right there, okay? So we take that up here. This is pretty good. Okay, let's watch how the arm reacts. So what I'm looking for is ideally I'm seeing the forearm back there. I was a little bit, I was kind of nice here, so let's see what it looks like after this. Okay, so to me, this is really where we're throwing from. Okay, so I go to front foot strike and I look at where you actually stabilizing. I take into consideration the leg, so I'm watching the leg to firm up. I can't zoom in any farther because I'm already so far zoomed in. But we're going to watch the left leg and we're going to see it here. Okay, we'll just draw lines on it. Look at what's happening. Yeah, good. So we don't see much sideways movement, so that's good. Okay. So that gives us a good indication that stabilization is happening pretty quick. I'm going to watch here. Yeah, there's really just like that. But I just see that. So that's what I mean. That movement in the left leg right there, okay, it's not happening right here. Right? You're still going into the ground. I should be seeing it happen right there. Okay, because I don't really see the forearm react yet. So we're not whipping, we're not whipping, we're not whipping, we're not whipping. Oh, we watch that front leg stabilize. Now we're going to see it whip. Look at how quick it lays back. That was maximum external rotation. And that's it. It's actually not a lot. And so if we measure this angle, that's not, that looks to be like a below average amount of maximum external rotation. So essentially what I'm trying to say, dude, is I could make a pretty strong argument that you have a little bit of early trunk rotation, okay, that you're really just throwing the ball from here as opposed to throwing the ball from here. Applying force in the ground from here as applying force in the ground from here. This is where your front leg stabilizes. This is where I see the forearm react to that and go quickly into maximum external rotation. I'm not seeing that happen here. Like the frame rates are different. This is slow, and all of a sudden the speed jumps up right there. That's where you're actually in the ground. Okay? So I'm looking at just keeping the back leg in a stronger position, and I imagine if we do that, that's going to slightly counter-rotate. So like from this position, I would see more of Avery's belt buckle. I would see more of his chest, and I'm not talking dramatic. I'm not talking, I'm not talking dramatic. I want to see the belt buckle more. I want to see more of the chest, and then just by doing that, hopefully, if we can stack that nicely, we will see these things stack a little bit better. There'll be less body parts over there. There'll be more body parts on that side of the line. And that typically will solve what we're seeing with this early trunk rotation because it's subtle, right? It took me like 2 minutes to just show you the difference between front foot strike and when the front leg is actually stabilizing. Okay. So again, just to remind you, this crossing of the hand and the glove side is really just the glove side not getting under the way. The follow-through pattern, what you're doing with your arm action is very impressive. Love that looseness. Like, I have no issue with that. So that's not, hopefully you're clear on what I'm talking about there. But anyway, hopefully this was helpful. If you are watching this on YouTube, you got to follow me on Instagram at CKSodaBaseball. My Twitter is CKSoda. Hopefully this is helpful. Shoot me a DM if you ever want any video analysis like this. Hopefully this is helpful, Avery. Coach Gaines, if you did watch it all the way to this point, it was good talking to you. I appreciate that. And good luck, you guys. Go Huskies.